So in today's video, we're going to discuss an area that I'm starting to get a lot of questions about. I've made videos on this area in the past. It's desirable, it's a little bit cheaper, it has a lot of things going for it, and that's Cleveland, Tennessee. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We discuss everything on here from moving to Chattanooga to living in Chattanooga and what you can expect from living in the area. So that being said, let's go ahead and talk about living in Cleveland, Tennessee today. And the very first thing I want to point out is just talk about the location of where Cleveland is located. So if we look on the map, which I'll put on the screen right here, Cleveland is very far east when you compare it to downtown Chattanooga. It's actually in a separate county called Bradley County. And if you look on the map, it kind of looks very far away, but if you live anywhere within the I-75 range that kind of cuts across the northern part of Cleveland, you're probably 30 to 45 minutes, depending on traffic, from downtown Chattanooga. So even though you're in a separate city, in a separate county, you're still very proximal to downtown, which is something that a lot of people love, that you can live in Cleveland, but at the same time be very close to the Chattanooga amenities. So when we discuss Cleveland, and a lot of the things when I say Cleveland or Bradley County is very interchangeable, but Cleveland is much smaller than Chattanooga. Chattanooga at this point is considered a medium-sized city, and Cleveland is definitely a small city. So for considering the population sizes, Chattanooga has a population size of 189,000 people, and Cleveland has about 49,000 people. Now, if we look into the counties, Hamilton County has about 380-ish thousand people, and Bradley County has about 111,000 people. So as you can see right there, you're looking at probably Chattanooga being 3 times the city as far as population go when you compare it to Cleveland City and Bradley County, and that's just something for you to take into account. I know a lot of times people look to move here, but they're not really sure how big Cleveland is or Chattanooga or any other area, so I always like to discuss how big the area is. So if you love a very small town feel, Cleveland might be great for you, but if you need a little bit more amenities or a bigger city feel, maybe Chattanooga might be better for you. Hey guys, if you are looking to move to the area, we would love to help you move to the area. We love helping people move here from California, Florida, Colorado, Maine, Arizona. The list goes on and on. We have helped so many people and families move here. We absolutely love it. We're professionals. We know what we're doing, and we can help the process be as painless as possible. So reach out to us, shoot us a text, email, or give us a call. Let's talk about how making the move to the Chattanooga area a reality to you. So that being said, let's get back to today's video. But even though Cleveland and Bradley County are about a third of the size of Chattanooga and Hamilton County, it doesn't mean that it's not growing. So according to the census from 2010 to 2020, Cleveland was actually growing at a rate of 11%, which the national average growth rate, I believe, is about 5 to 6. So it's almost double the national growth rate, which is awesome. Now for discussing home prices, Cleveland has $388,000 for the medium priced home as of February 2025. But if we look back to February of 2024, it was actually $299,000. So Cleveland year to date has experienced a growth of about a little bit over 13%, which is really good for the area. It's growing a lot, like I've already discussed on the census, and it's growing a lot just like I mentioned on the census part. Now, if we want to compare that to the national average of home prices, the national average of home prices is 396 or 400,000. So Cleveland is still below the national average when it comes to home prices. Now, since we're talking about home prices, let's talk about the cost of living in Cleveland, Tennessee. When we compare Cleveland to Chattanooga, Cleveland is actually 7% or 7.5% lower in cost of living when compared to Chattanooga. But if we're discussing about the national average, Cleveland is actually 17% lower than the national average when we discuss cost of living. So as you can see from the chart on your screen, overall it's 17% lower than the national average, but it breaks down into housing, which is 18% lower. Then you have utilities, which is 14% lower, groceries are 12% lower, and then transportation being the lowest at 29% lower than the national average. Now, all this information was from payscale.com, and I'll put a link in the description below. You can actually go in there and put, if you're coming from Miami or Los Angeles or Chicago or Dallas or anywhere in the country, you can put your city moving to Cleveland, Tennessee, or Chattanooga or anywhere else in this this area and put how much money you're making there, let's say $100,000, how much money you would have to make in Cleveland to have the same exact lifestyle. And I guarantee you that almost everywhere that you're gonna come from, especially if it's from a bigger city, the cost of living is gonna be way lower in Cleveland, Tennessee. Now, if we're discussing things to do or conveniences, or what is Cleveland, Tennessee about? Cleveland has a rich history that I was very shocked to learn once I moved here, and doing research for this video, I learned a lot of things that I didn't know. Like one fun factoid, if you're into that stuff, is that Ulysses S. Grant actually had a headquarters during the Civil War here in Cleveland, Tennessee. I know, pretty crazy. There is a rich Native American history in the area as well. But the very first thing I really want to go a little bit more in depth with is the downtown Cleveland area. So if you're into kind of like the Hallmark movies where there's like these old little towns where the girl falls in love with the guy and she slips and he catches her, and those type of Hallmark movies, this is kind of what the feel and the vibe that you will get. You have this little cute gazebo in downtown Cleveland next to the courthouse. You have all these little mom and pop shops, all these little mom and pop restaurants that you can visit, and it gives you that very small town feel, and it's absolutely beautiful, especially in the holidays when everything's decorated with lights and stuff like that. This is definitely the vibe that you will get here, and if you're looking to live in that type of city, you will definitely find it here in Cleveland, Tennessee. Another thing I will mention is that Cleveland has a good amount of parks for being such a small city. One of the best parks, in my opinion, and a park that we love, is called Deer Park. So if you're visiting the area and you have small kids, this is a beautiful little park in a very nice area where if you're just looking for houses, it has a lot more old school colonial style vibe. It's next to the university, so it is a little bit of a busier area, but this park is absolutely beautiful with the zip lines. It has a sand pit next to a little creek, so if you have kids, definitely visit here. But overall, the general sense of Cleveland and Bradley County, they definitely invest in their parks, and they definitely do a good job of maintaining everything. Another thing that they have is the Greenway. The Greenway is about 4 miles long and travels through many different areas and parks with a very nice path that you can walk or bike on. So this is definitely cool if you just guys like to go for runs or you like to go biking as a family. This is definitely a nice place to where you can bike and then go through different parks that you can stop and play in. So if you and your family like to be active, you like to live in an area that has a lot of parks, has places like the Greenway. Another park that is really cool in the area is more of the Bradley County area because it's almost into Hamilton County. It's called Red Clay Historic Park, and this was actually where the Cherokee Nation last headquarters was before they had to do the whole Trail of Tears stuff, and the Trail of Tears actually went through this area. So it's definitely something that is nice to visit, to read about all the rich history and everything that happened during that time. And I bring up this specific park. It has a very beautiful natural blue spring that pumps out, I believe, anywhere from 300,000 gallons of water a day, and it's awesome. And I believe the folklore of the area is that it has healing properties. So a lot of people back in the day would come here to get into the water and get healed and stuff like that. It stays about 55 degrees year round. In the winter time, when you can go there for, I believe they have a 1.7 mile little pathway that you can walk. In the winter time, it's not as nice to dip your feet in the water, but during the summertime when it's really hot and humid, it's definitely a nice area to visit because you can dip your water. You can't jump into the spring, but you can just dip your feet into the little river that comes off the spring. But if you're looking for hiking, Bradley County has a lot of hiking trails surrounding the area. One of the best areas is Ocoee, and the Ocoee River, where the '96 Olympics whitewater rafting was held, is a beautiful river. So there's a ton of whitewater rafting, kayaking, canoeing, that type of stuff over there. And there's a lot of mountains surrounding the Ocoee. One of the nicest hikes in that area would be Benton Falls hikes. If you're going to the area, you want to go for a nice hike, definitely go to Benton Falls trailhead, and that will take you, I believe it's 1.5 miles to a waterfall. It's absolutely beautiful. It's not a lot of climbing. It's very doable for families with young kids, and definitely somewhere you should check out. But for hiking, there's a lot of hiking around the surrounding areas if you're into that type of stuff. Another cool thing, if you like scenic drives, something you should definitely do if you have the time and you like scenic drives, is drive the Ocoee Scenic Byway. It follows the Ocoee River and it goes into bluffs, and then you drive up a mountain, and it's absolutely beautiful. You have like 2 bluffs and mountains that converge into the Ocoee River, and you're right there following the river. If you love that type of stuff, I love it. I've driven there a handful of times going east, you know, into the Carolinas. Absolutely beautiful drive, and definitely check it out. Now, sticking with the things to do, of course, besides all the outdoors and hiking and scenic stuff that there is to do, you have your Targets and you have all these stores that you need in the area. You have restaurants, you have dining, you have a small little mall, you have shops. But even if that is not enough for you, again, you are still very much close to downtown Chattanooga. If you're okay with driving anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to downtown. But if you're looking to just get some shopping in, or maybe go to Whole Foods and stuff like that, you would go to the East Brainerd or Hamilton Place Mall area, which is maybe about 20 to 30 minutes away, getting on 75, depending on how far from 75 you live. So there is a lot that Cleveland offers as far as things to do. A lot of things outside, kind of in the same realms of Chattanooga and being a very outdoorsy city, but there is the conveniences and the shopping and the dining and things like that for you to do as well. Now let's just touch a little bit on the local jobs or the local economy that you can find in Cleveland, Tennessee. I believe as of the recording of this video, the unemployment rate is about 3.6 to 3.7%, which the national average is 4%, so it's still below the national average. But for the most part, the biggest employer in the area, I believe, is Whirlpool, which they have a manufacturing plant there, and they have about 1,800 employees. Then you have, you know, Bradley County School Systems. You have Bradley Medical Center, which is the main hospital in the area where you can have all the health professions having their employment there. I live in Ottawa in Hamilton County, and I have a lot of friends that work up in Cleveland. Again, it's not very far away when we're discussing this in relation to very big city like Nashville or Atlanta. It's really within the same district or the same city area because it's not that far. But because Chattanooga is a lot smaller, we still have to mention that it's a different county and a different city altogether, but very close in relation to one another. So Cleveland definitely has a lot of manufacturers, a lot of jobs, a lot of medical, teacher type of employment. You also have Lee University there, so if you're a professor, if you're looking to find a job at a university, you have that. But for the most part, you also have all the jobs that Chattanooga has. You know, Volkswagen and McKee Foods and Unum and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, all that is in the Hamilton County or Chattanooga area. So even though you might not have it in your backyard where you live, it's easily a 30-minute drive away from you. So the local jobs that you can find are still within the 30 to 45 minutes drive, which is a big improvement from a lot of people that we help from, you know, Florida or California, where they drive 2 hours to work and 2 hours back home, which is absolutely insane. You will not have that issue here, which is definitely a plus in my book. So that's today's video, guys. I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. Again, if you're looking to move to the area, please reach out to me on the number on your screen or shoot me a DM on social media. Find me wherever you can find me. Just get a hold of me so that I can help you move to the area or answer your questions or make the move easier for you. So that being said, until next time, take care and God bless.